Hey, hello guys, welcome back to a new video. So guys, today we are reading a new book which is Napoleon Hill, The Golden Rule of Success. So without wasting any time, let's read its chapter 7, which is The Magic Ladder to Success. The Magic Ladder to Success has been delivered in practically every city in the United States. In a personal lecture before hundreds of thousands of people, there is an inscrutable something about it that attracts, holds, and inspires all who bear it. It has helped thousands find and first step toward achievement. It appeals like to the rich and the poor, the educated and the illiterate, and has the effect of bringing people together in a spirit of closer understanding. The object of this letter is to show what is manpower and how it is developed in those who do not possess it. Manpower comes only through organized knowledge, intelligently directed. Facts within themselves do not represent power. Knowledge, unorganized and without intelligence and direction, doesn't represent power. There is a great deal of knowledge, carefully classified and stored away in a well-edited encyclopedia, but it represents no power until it is transformed into organized, intelligently directed effort. There is no power in college degrees, nor in the education that these degrees represent, until it is classified, organized, and put into action. Human power is organized and intelligently directed energy, as represented by facts, intelligence, and the facilities through which the human mind operates. In weight, tensile strength, and size, there is a log chain in a sack full of disconnected chain links. But these links represent only a potential chain. They are organized, connected up, and the links welded together. So it is with man facilities. They may be organized before they represent power. There are two kinds of manpower. One is represented by the organization of the individual facilities, which gives increased power to the individual, and the other is represented by the organization of individuals and group of individuals. A little handful of well-organized soldiers has been known to put to your root 10 times its number of disorganized, undisciplined men. And history is full of the biographies of men who have risen to fame and fortune through the process of organizing and intelligently directing their individual facilities, while millions around them, with equal opportunities, remained mediocres or out failures. There is considerable energy in an ordinary small electric dry battery, but not enough to do bodily damage if one should form a short circuit with his finger and absorb the entire charge. 1,000 such dry batteries are equally harmless until they are organized and connected together with wires. Through this process of organization, if the energy of the entire 1,000 batteries is fed to one wire, enough energy is produced to turn a considerable piece of machinery. This group of dry batteries may be linked to individuals, in that greatly increased power comes through the organized effort of a large group of men as compared to the efforts of the same men acting singly. The object of this letter mainly is to direct attention to the modus operandi through which individual power is developed and applied to the economic problems of life. If you will organize your own facilities after the pattern laid down in this letter by properly developing the qualities represented by the 16 rungs, you'll find your power enormously increased. You'll find in possession of power that you did not know possessed. And through the intelligent direction of this power, you can attain practically any position in life to which you aspire. The 16 rungs of this ladder represent the choice and the most illustrative experience of my 22 years of business life. Rung number 1, a definite aim in life. Rung number 2, self-confidence. Rung number 3, initiative. Rung number 4, imagination. Rung number 5, action. Rung number 6, enthusiasm. Rung number 7, self-control. Rung number 8, the habit of performing more work and better work than you are paid to perform. Rung number 9, an attractive personality. Rung number 10, accurate thought. Rung number 11, concentration. Rung number 12, persistency. Rung number 13, failures. Rung number 14, tolerance and sympathy. Rung number 15, work. Rung number 16, the golden rule. I will take you behind the curtain of my own private life so that you may learn these great lessons as portrayed in the outline of the ladder, with the hope that the road over which you will try have to travel to reach the objective for which you are striving in my life may be somewhat shortened, and the obstacles will surely await you somewhat minimized. Success ought not be a mere matter of chance, as is true in the majority of instances, because the roadway over which success is reached is now well known, and every inch of it has been carefully and accurately charted. The magic ladder to success will carry you wherever you wish to go if you will master it and organize your facilities according to its plan. A statement I make after having not only organized my own facilities and directed them to a given and successfully, but after having helped others to do the same in thousands of cases. This magic ladder to success represents 22 years of actual experience and observation, at least 12 of which have been directed to the instance analysis and study of character and human conduct. During the past 12 years, I have analyzed more than 12,000 men and women. These analyses developed and some startling facts, one of which was that 95% of the adult population belonged to the class that might properly be called unorganized, both as to individual facilities and as to group or collective effort, or followers, and the other 5% might be called leaders. Another startling fact discovered from organizing and classifying the tendency and habits of human beings, as shown by these analyses, was the main reason why the overwhelmingly large percentage of people belonged in the class of followers was lack of a definite purpose in life and a definite plan for carrying out that purpose. With the foregoing analysis of the magic ladder to success, you have already seen that the ladder deals entirely with this subject of acquiring manpower through organization, coordination, and classification of the human facilities. Bear in mind that this ladder is not intended as a panacea for all the evils which beset the pathway of the human race, nor it is intended as a new formula for success. Its purpose is to help you organize what you have already and direct your efforts in the future more powerfully and more accurately than you have done in the past. Its purpose, stated in another way, is to help you educate yourself, meaning by the word educate, to develop, organize, and intelligently direct your natural facilities called the mind. Power comes through real education. No person is educated who has not learned to organize, classify, and intelligently direct the facilities of his mind to a definite end. No person is educated who has not learned to separate facts from mere information, weaving the facts into an organized plan of action with a definite object in view. Mere schooling is no evidence of education. College degrees are no evidence. that those holding them are persons of educations. The word educate comes, if I recall correctly, from the Latin word edu, meaning to develop from within, to edu, to draw out, to expand through use. It doesn't mean to cram the brain with knowledge as most dictionaries tell us that it does. I dwell at length on this word educate and on the word organization because these two words are the very foundation, the very warp and woof of the magic ladder to success. Education is something you must acquire. No one can give it to you. You must get it for yourself. You have to work to get it and you have to work to keep it. Education comes not from knowing but from doing. The Encyclopedia Britannica is full of facts, but the books themselves have no power. They are not educated because they cannot put into action the facts that have been classified and filled away in their pages. So, it is the human automation who merely gathers knowledge and makes no organized use of it. There is a considerable energy in a ton of coal, but the coal must first be dug out of the ground and put into action through the aid of combustion. Before that energy can be utilized, what is merely latent in the human brain represents no more energy or power that does not coal under the ground until it is organized and put into action to some definite end. The reason that a person can acquire an education through the cooperation of schools and teachers more readily than he can acquire it without these is the fact that school have to organize knowledge. If I seem to lay undue stress upon this question of organization, let me remind that you lack of this very ability to organize, classify and intelligently direct the facilities of the mind constitutes the rocks and reefs on which a large majority of the failures flounder and go down to ruin. If through repetition and by approaching this question from various angles, as I have intended to do, I can drive home the importance of properly organizing your facilities and directing them to a definite end, I will have done for you all that any school on earth aims to do for its students. With the foregoing as a prelude, we are now ready to take up the first rung of the magic ladder to success. Rung number 1. A definite aim in life. No one would think of gathering together a quantity of sand, lumber, brick, and building materials with the object of building a house without first creating a definite plan for that house. Yet my experience in analyzing over 12,000 people proved conclusively that 95% of the people have no such plan for building a career, which is 1,000 times more important than the building of a house. Do not overlook the significance of the word definite, because it is the most important word in the phrase, a definite aim in life. Without this word, the sentence represents what we all have, which is nothing more than a vague aim to succeed. How, when, or where we know not. Or at least those of us who belong to the 95% class do not. We resemble a ship without a rudder, floating on the ocean, running around in circles and using up energy that never carries us to shore, because we do not aim toward one definite goal and carry on until we reach it. You are commencing now to acquire manpower through the organization, classification, and intelligent direction of knowledge. But your first step must be the choice of a definite aim, or else you might as well have no power, since you will not be able to guide it to a worthwhile objective. It is necessary not only to have a definite aim in life, but you must also have a definite plan for attaining that aim. Therefore, place on paper a written statement of your definite aim and also a written statement in as much detail as possible of your plan for attaining that aim. There is a psychological reason for instancing that you reduce your definite aim and your plan for attaining it to writing. A reason you will truly understand after you have mastered the subject of autosuggestion. This reason is explained again in another article that will appear in these pages on the subject of self-confidence building. Bear in mind that both your definite aim and your plan for attaining it may be modified from time to time. As a matter of fact, you will be an unusual person if you have the vision and the imagination to see a definite aim. Now that will be large enough in its scope to satisfy your ambition a little later on. The important thing for you to do is to learn the significance of working always with a definite aim in view and always with a definite plan. This principle is one of that you must make a part of the process of organizing your facilities, and you must apply it in everything you do, thus forming the habit of systematic organized effort. 1 year from the time that you write out your first statement of your definite aim in life, you'll be surprised, more than likely, at the small scope is covered. For you will then have developed greater vision and greater self-confidence. You'll be able to accomplish more because your belief that you can do so and because of your courage in setting a better task for yourself as indicated by your definite aim. This process of expanding from within, drawing out your mind, will enable you to think in bigger terms without becoming frightened. It will enable you to look upon your definite aim in life with eyes of analysis and synthesis, and to see it not only it is entirely, but in its component parts, all of which will seem small and insignificant to you. Engineers have mountains from one spot to another with no difficulty whatsoever, not by trying to move the whole mountain at once soulfully, you understand, but by soulfully at a time and according to a definite plan. The time and the necessary money required with which to build the Panama Canal were correctly estimated years ahead. In fact, before a single shovelful of dirt had been removed, because the engineers who built it had learned how to work by definite plans. The canal was a success. It was a success because the men who planned and built it followed the principle that I have laid down for your guidance as a first rung in this ladder. Therefore, you can really see that there is nothing new about this principle. It's needs no experiment to prove its accuracy because the successful men of the past have already proved this. Make up your mind and know what you wish to do in life. Then you formulate your plans and commence doing it. If you have trouble deciding what your life work ought to be, you can secure the services of able analysts who can assist you in selecting in life work a life work that will be harmony with your natural inclination, your temperate physical strength, training and native ability. This brings us to the second rung in the ladder. Rung number 2, self-confidence. It would hardly be worthwhile to create a definite aim in life or a plan for attaining it unless one possessed the self-confidence with which to put the plan into action and achieve the aim. Nearly everyone has a certain amount of what is ordinarily considered self-confidence, but only a relatively small number of possess the particular kind of self-confidence to which we have referenced as constituting the second rung in the major ladder to success. Self-confidence is a state of mind that anyone can develop in a short period of time. The modus operandi through which this was done is set out in detail in a lesson on self-confidence that will appear later. But now we will make plain the necessity of this quality. 20 odd years ago, I was engaged as a laborer in the coal mine. I was without a definite aim and lacked the self-confidence necessary in creating such an aim. Something happened one night that marked the most important turning point in my life. I was sitting before an open fire, discussing with the man and with whom I lived this very problem of problems that was now come up to plague the entire world. The spirit of unrest and angostium become employer and employee. I said something that impressed this man because and he did something that gave me my first lesson in self-confidence building. He then reached over, took me by the shoulder, looked me squarely in the eye and said, "Why, you're a bright boy, and if you'll get out and go to school, you'll make your mark in the world." It was not what he said as much as it was the manner in which he said, the sparkle in his eye, the firmness with which he gripped my shoulder as he spoke, that impressed me. And it was the first time in my life that anybody had told me I was bright or that I might make my mark in the world. It gave me my first ray of hope, my first fleeting glimpse of self-confidence. The seed of self-confidence was sown in my mind on that occasion, and it has been growing all these years. The first thing this planting in my mind of the seed of self-confidence did was to cause me to break away from the mines and enter more remunerative work. It caused me to become thirsty for knowledge, so much so that I am becoming more of an efficient student every year that I live. Under today, I can gather, classify, and organize facts in less than 1/10 the time required only a few years ago. Rung number 3. Initiative. Initiative is that very rare quality which impels a person to do what ought to be done without being told to do it. All great leaders must possess this initiative. A man without initiative could never become a great general, either in warfare or in business industry, because generalship, to be successful, must be based on intense action. Golden opportunities are lurking at every corner, waiting for the person with initiative to come along and discover them. When a person performs only the task allotted to him and then stops, he attracts no particular attention. But when he takes the initiative, goes ahead and looks for other tasks to be performed after his regular duties have been taken care of, he attracts the favorable attention of his superiors, who willingly allot to him greater responsibilities with pay accordingly. Before a person can rise very high in any field of endeavor, he must become a person of vision who can think in big terms, who can create definite plans and then carry these plans into action. All of which makes it imperative and that the quality of initiative be developed. One of the significant features concerning this magic ladder is the extent to which its rungs blend and harmonize with each other, to the end that the whole ladder constitutes a powerful organization of usable material. Notice how the third and fourth rungs complement each other, and notice also the powers comes out proper blending of these two rungs in the practical affairs of life. Imagination is the workshop of the human mind. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. This is rung number 4, imagination. So, Imagination is the workshop of the human mind in which old ideas are built into new combination and new plans. When Edison invented the incandescent light, he merely brought together, in his imagination first and then in his laboratory, two well known principles and hooked them up, so to speak, in a new way. He knew, as almost every amateur electrician knows, that friction in an electrical line would cause heat, that the line could be heated at the point of friction to a white glow and thereby produce light. But the trouble was that the wire would burn in two. Finally, after searching all over the world for a special fiber or filament that could be heated to a white glow without its burning in two, Edison thought of the old charcoal principle, wherein a pile of wood is placed on the ground, set on fire, and then covered over with dirt and the air cut off. The wood smolders along, but it cannot burn up entirely because most of the oxygen has been cut off, and there can be therefore not enough combustion. This moment Edison thought of this charcoal principle. He went into his laboratory, placed a filament inside of a globe, cut off the air, and he had produced the long sought incandescent light. When Christopher Columbus turned his eyes westward in search of a new world, he made the most profitable use of initiative and imagination ever recorded in all history. Out of his blending of these qualities was born America, or America of which the whole world is envious, and we are proud. When Gutenberg turned his attention to the invention of the modern printing press, he also made profitable use of initiative and imagination, because he gave wings to thought, which carries the happening of the world to a door each day at a cost of 2 or 3 cents, and brought the whole world into closer intercourse. When the Wright brothers turned their attention to the airplane, they used initiative and imagination, which within the span of a few years mastered the air and shortened the distance between 2 points by an enormous proportion. All of the great inventions owed their existence to the blending of these two forces, initiative and imagination. The limits to which a person of ordinary ability can attain through the use of initiative and imagination no person can define. Lack of these two qualities is the main reason why 95% of the adult people of the world have no definite aim in life, which in turn is also the reason why this same 95% constitute the followers in life. Leaders are always men and women of initiative and imagination. Rung number 5. Action. The world pays for only one thing, and that is for service rendered or action. Stored away knowledge is worthless. It benefits no one until it has been expressed in terms of action. No one pays for goods on the shelves. They must be hauled down and ushered into service before the world pays for them. You might be a graduate of Yale, Harvard, or Princeton. In fact, you might have all the facts in all your encyclopedias in the world stored away in your head. But unless you organize this knowledge and expressed it in action, it would be worth nothing to you or to the world. A few years ago, I went out in the Chicago Public Park and interviewed 7 of those so-called down and outs, those fellows who lie around asleep with newspapers over their faces while work is plentiful and wages high. I wanted to catch a glimpse of their particular alibi. I knew they had what they believed to a reason for being without work. With some small change and a pocket full of cigars, I got up pretty close to these fellows. And what do you suppose they told me? Every mother's sons of 10. Each of them said substantially this: I'm here because the world would not give me a chance. Think of it. Because the world would not give me a chance. Did the world never give any person a chance? Other than what he went out and created by the use of his imagination, self-confidence, initiative, and those other qualities mentioned in this letter. We need not argue the point that if there is no action, all the education in the world, all the knowledge that ever came from the best colleges and the universities on earth, and all the good intention plus all of the other qualities mentioned in this magic letter will not be any value whatsoever. A person without this great quality of action resembles a great locomotive that stands on the side track, or in the roundhouse with coal in the bunker, water in the tank, fire in the firebox, steam in the dome, but no engineer to open the throttle. This great piece of locomotive power is as useless as a sand dune until someone opens a throttle and puts the things into action. Within that head of yours is a great machine, one that revolves all the locomotives and man-made machine ever built. But it is as useless as a locomotive that stands on the side of the track without the engineer until you put it into action. How many millions of people are there in the world who have all the essential for great success, who have everything necessary with which to render the world a great service, except one quality, action. But little use of your imagination, you can see how closely related action is to all of the other qualities covered by the first four rungs in the ladder. You can see how the lack of action would nullify all of the other qualities. When a person goes into action, those negative qualities of presentation, fear, worry, and doubt are strictly on the defensive, and nearly everyone knows that a better fight can be fought on the offensive that can be fought on the defensive. Action is one of the chief qualities that all leaders must possess, and incidentally is the chief quality that distinguishes the leader from those who follow. This is the worth thinking about. It may help some of us advance from the rank and file of the folder into the selected, limited classes who are leaders. Rung number 6. Enthusiasm. The next rung in the ladder is very approximately called enthusiasm, because enthusiasm usually arouses one to action and therefore should be closely associated with it in the ladder. If we are considering the steps of this ladder in the order of their importance, probably enthusiasm would precede action, because there is not apt to be very much action in a person unless there is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm usually develops automatically when one finds the work for which he or she is best fitted, the work they like best. It is not likely that you will be able to maintain very much enthusiasm over work that you dislike before it behooves you to search diligently until you find the work into which you can throw your whole heart and soul, the work in which you can earnestly and persistently lose yourself. Rung number 7. Self-control. For 18 long, perilous years, an arch enemy stood between me and the attainment of my definite aim. That enemy was lack of self-control. I was always looking my controversies and argument. Usually I found it. Most of my time was spent in showing someone that he was wrong, whereas I should have been devoting this valuable time to showing myself that I was wrong. Finding fault with people is undoubtedly the most unprofitable business one ever engaged in. It makes enemies and demoralizes the spirit of friendship. In no way does it reform or help another person. Lack of self-control leads to fault finding. No person ever became a great leader of others until he first learned to lead himself. Through self-control, self-mastery is the first stepping stone to real achievement, all of which is merely a preachment and does not give the real reason why self-control is an absolutely necessary quality for all who attain real success. When a person loses his temper, something takes place in his brain. which ought to be understood more generally. An angry person who does not really lose his temper, he merely inflames it and causes it to draw to his brain those chemicals which, when combined through anger, form a deadly poison. An angry person will throw off enough poison with every exhalation of breath to kill a guinea pig. There are only three ways of getting rid of poison manufactured by the brain in anger. One is through the pores of the skin, one is through the lungs. The poison being carried away on the breath is the form of gases, and the other is the liver, which separates the waste matter from the blood. When these three roadways become overworked, the surplus poison being manufactured by an angry person is distributed through the system and poisons it, just as would be done if any other deadly and poisonous drug were injected into the blood. With the use of a hypodermic syringe, anger, hatred, cynicism, permission, and other negative states of mind tend to poison the system and should be avoided. They are all a part of that deadly negative lack of self-control. Rung number 8. The habit of performing more work and better work than you are paid to perform. I do not believe it possible for anyone to rise above mediocrity without developing this habit of performing more service and better service than is actually paid in dollars and cents. The person who makes it a habit to do this is usually regarded as a leader, and without acceptation, as far as we have any knowledge on the subject, all such people have risen to the top in their profession or business regardless of other handicaps that may have stood in the way. A person who rendered this sort of service is sure to attract the attention of people who will start a lively competition for his or her services. No one ever heard of competition over the services of the person who performed as little work as possible to get paid, and by who performed that work in a careless manner, in an unwilling spirit. All of the ability on the earth, all of the knowledge recorded in all of the books down in the edges, all the schooling on earth will not create a profitable market for the services of a man or a woman who renders as little service as possible and makes the quality as poor as will pass. One, on the other hand, the spirit of willingly performing more work and better work than one is paid to perform is sure to bring its just reward. It will offset many other negative qualities and the lack of many other desirable qualities. Rung number 9. An attractive personality. You can really see, even though you possessed all of the qualities such far outlined, you would nevertheless be very apt to fail in your life work if you did not also attract people to you through a pleasing personality. Personality cannot be defined in one word because it is the sum of total of those qualities that distinguish you from every other person on earth. The clothes you wear form part of your personality, a very important part at that. Your facial expression, as shown by the lines on your face or the lack of these, forms a part of your personality. The word you speak from a very important part of your personality and mark you instantly. Once you have spoken as a person of refinement or the opposite, your voice is also constitutes in an important part of your personality, a part which, to be pleasing, must be cultivated, trained, and developed so it is harmonious, rich, and expressed with rhythm. The manner in which you shake hands forms an important part of your personality. Therefore, you make your handshake firm and vibrate. If you merely permit the other person to shake your limp, cold, lifeless hand, you are displaying what constitutes a negative personality. An attractive personality may be described as one that draws people to you and causes them to find companionship and harmony in your company, while an unattractive personality is one that causes people to want to get as far as away from you as possible. You undoubtedly can analyze yourself and determine whether or not people are attracted to you. And if they are not, you surely can find the reason why. Also, it may be of interest to you to know that the class of people you attract to yourself clearly indicates your own character and personality. Because you will attract only those who are in harmony with you and whose characters and nature correspond that of your own. An attractive personality usually may be found in the person who speaks gently and kindly, selecting words that do not offend, who selects clothing of appropriate style and colors that harmonize. The person who is unselfish and willingly to serve others, who is a friend of all humanity regardless of politics, religion, creed, or economic viewpoints, who refrains from speaking unkindly of others, either with or without cause. The person who manages to converse without being drawn into an argument or trying to draw others into argument on such debatable subjects as religion and politics, who see the good there is in people and overlooks the bad, who seeks neither to reform nor reprimand others, who smile frequently and deeply. The person who loves little child, flower, bird, the growing grass, the trees, and the running brooks, who sympathizes with all who are in trouble, who forgives acts of kindness, who willingly grants to others the right to do as they please as long as no one else's rights are interfered with. The person who can honestly strives to be constructive in every thought and act, who encourages others and spurs them on to greater undertakings and some useful work for the good of humanity, by entrusting them in themselves and inspiring them with self-confidence, who is a patient and interested listener and makes a habit of giving the other person a part of the conversation without breaking in and doing all the talking. An attractive personality, like all of the other qualities mentioned in this ladder, is easily developed through the application of applied psychology. Rung number 10. Accurate thought. After you have learned how to think correctly, you'll easily and automatically practice the habit of examining everything that tries to make its way to your mind, to see whether it is mere information or facts. You'll learn how to keep away your mind all those sense impressions that arise not from facts but from prejudices and from hatred, anger, bias, and other false sources. You'll learn how to separate facts into two groups, namely the relevant and the irrelevant, or the important and unimportant. You'll learn how to take the important facts and organize them, working them into a perfect judgment or plan of action. You'll learn how to analyze what you read in magazine, newspapers, making the necessary education reasoning from the known facts to the unknown, and arriving at a balanced judgment that is not colored by prejudice or built out of mere information that you did not correctly examine. You'll also learn, when you understand how to think correctly, how to put what others say the same process, because this will lead you nearer to the truth. You'll learn how to take anything for fact unless it's squared up with your own intelligence and unless it meets the various tests to which a sound thinker always subjects everything that tries to make its way to its mind. You'll learn also not to be influenced by what man says about another until you have weighed the statement, examined, and determined, according to the known principle of correct thinking, whether the statement is false or true. If scientific thinking will do all of this for you, is it desirable quality, isn't it? It will do all of this and much more when you understand the comparability, simple principle through which correct thought is produced. Rung number 11, concentration. Concentration is a sense that we had made in one of the ring of this ladder that has reference to the practice of inducing your mind to picture all of the details outlined in your chief aim or in any undertaking, whether connected with or leading to your chief aim or not, until that picture has been clearly outlined and practically ways and means of transforming it into reality have been created. Concentration is the process of causing your imagination to search very surface and corner of your subconscious mind, wherein is stored away a perfect picture of every sense impression that ever reach your mind through your five senses, and find all that can be used in connection with the object of concentration. Concentration is also the process of bringing together, as electric batteries are connected by wires, the combined strength of all the qualities outlined in this ladder for the purpose of achieving a given end or attaining a given object, the object of the concentration. It is the process of focusing the powers of thought upon a given subject until the mind has analyzed that subject and separated it into its component parts, then reassembled it again into a definite plan. It is the process of studying effects by their cause and conversely causes by their effects. Rung number 12, persistency. Persistency and concentration are so closely related that it is hard to say where is the line that separates them. Persistency is synonymous with willpower or determination. It is a quality that causes you to keep the powers of your mind focused upon an objective through the principle of concentration until that objective has been reached. Persistence is the quality that causes you to arise when you once have been knocked down by temporary failure and to continue your pursuit of a given desire or object. It is a quality that gives you courage and faith to keep on trying in the face of any and all obstacle that may confront you. It is a quality that causes the bulldog to find the death grip on his opponent's throat and then lie down and hold on in spite of all efforts to shake him off. However, you are not aiming to develop persistency for the purpose of using it as a bulldog does. You are developing it for the purpose of carrying you over those necessary rocks and reefs that nearly every person must master in reaching a worthwhile place in the world. You are developing persistency to guide you unwearying in a given direction. Only after you are satisfied that you are going in the right direction. Indiscriminate use of persistency might only get you in trouble. Rung number 3, failures. This brings us to lucky 13th ring of the ladder, failures. Do not stumble on this ring. It is the most interesting ring of all because it deals with facts you must face in life, whether you wish to do so or not. It shows you, as clearly as you might see the sun on a clear day, how you can turn every failure into an asset. How can you curve every failure into a foundation stone upon which your house of success will stand forever. Failure is the only subject in the whole ladder that might be called negative, and I shall show how you and why it is one of the most important of life's experiences. Failure is nature's plan of hurdle jumping a person and training them for a worthwhile work in life. It is nature's great crucible and tempering process that burns the dross from all the other human qualities and purifies the metal so it will be withstands all hard usage through the life. Failure is the great law of resistance that makes a person stronger in preparation to the extent that he overcomes this resistance. In every failure there is a great and lasting lesson if one will only analyze, think and profit by it. Failure develops tolerance, sympathy, and kindness in the human heart. You'll not travel very far down life's pathway before you discover that every adversity and every failure is a blessing in disguise. A blessing because it has put to your mind and your body into action and thereby caused both to grow through the law of use. Look back down the ages, you'll find history full of incidents that show clearly the cleansing, purifying, strengthening value of failure. When you begin to realize that failure is a necessary part of one's education, you'll go no longer upon it with fear. And Lou, the first thing you know, there will be no more failures. No person ever arose from the knockout blow of defeat without being a stronger and wiser human being in one respect or another. If you will look back over your own failures, if you are fortunate enough to be able to point to any of very great consequence, you'll no doubt see that those failures mark certain turning points in your life and in your plans that will benefit you. Point number 14. Tolerance and sympathy. One of the curses of this world today is intolerance and a lack of sympathy. Had the world been tolerant, the world war could never have swept the face of civilized globe as it did. Here in America, it is of particular importance that we learn the lesson of tolerance and sympathy, for the reason that it is a great melting pot in which we are living side by side with varied race and with followers of every creed and religion on earth. Unless we display tolerance and sympathy, we are not living up to the standard that first distinguished this form of the old Khazar king and Khazarian world across the Atlantic. Many great lessons were learned during the war, but none of was more important than this, that Catholics and Protestants, Jews and Gentiles, and the followers of all other religions and all nationalities and races could fight side by side for a common cause. If we could fight for a common cause during the war without displaying intolerance for one another on account of religion, race, and creed, and if we have found it necessary and profitable to do so, why not continue to do the same in peace? Power comes out of cooperation. All the down ages, the seething, struggling masses have suffered from their own gross indifference and violent intolerance with one another than they have from oppression by the classes. As a matter of fact, the masses could lay aside intolerance and work for a common cause behind a solid front, and no power on earth could defeat them. In warfare, defeat usually comes from lack of organization. The same is true in life. Intolerance and lack of harmonious effort to a common end has always left the door open so that a few who understood the power that comes from organized effort might step in and ride the backs of the disorganized, intolerant masses. Just now, intolerance is working with the world in two directions, namely in reason and in business and industries. The disagreement between so-called capital and labor is not nothing but intolerance and greed, and it is as much in I'm very sorry. In evidence on one side as it is on another. If both sides would see the one is the arm while each is the lifeblood which keeps that arm alive, each would see that intolerance which affects one adversely also affects the another in the same way. Let us be done with intolerance by placing principle above the dollar and humanity above the selfish individual. Let us exercise at least as much real intelligence as does the little honey bee that work for the good of the hive, and the hive may not perish. Rung number 15. Work. This is the shortest word of all that constitute the rungs of the ladder. Yet it is one of the most important of those qualities. All of nature's law have decreed that nothing may live that is not used. The arm is tied to one side and removed from active use will weather up and perish away. So it is with any other part of the physical body. Disuse brings decay and death. Likewise, the human mind, with all of its qualities, will wither up and decay unless it is used. This is wrong. The mind will not decay, but the brain, the physical agent through which the mind function, will decay unless it is used. Every picture that reaches the human brain through the five senses embeds itself upon one of the tiny brain cells, there to weather up and die through disuse, or to become vivid and healthy through constant use. The most modern educators now concede that it is not the actual knowledge a child gathers from school books that constitute their education. It is the brain development that takes place in the process of transferring that knowledge from the books to the brain, bringing a corresponding amount of use of brain itself, which constitute the real value of schooling. The qualities outlined in this letter are yours in return for just one prize. That prize is work. Persistence, never ceasing work. As long as you exercise these qualities and keep them at work, they will be strong and healthy, but if you permit them to lie dormant, unused, and will wither into decay, and finally into death. Rung number 16. The Golden Rule. This is the last rung of the letter. Yet, but slight reflection will tell us that it is probably should have been the first rung, because its use or disuse will determine whether one ultimately fail or succeed in the application of all the other qualities mentioned in the letter. The Golden Rule philosophy is the shining sun that should form the background of all the other quality outlined in the letter. Unless the Golden Rule lights the pathway over which you travel, you are apt to plunge headlong into pitfalls from you can never escape. The Golden Rule philosophy makes cases impossible and helps to produce Lincolns and Washingtons. It is that leads individuals or nations into growth or decay, life or death, according to whether it is applied or not. The Golden Rule offers is only short roadway to happiness because it leads straight through the field of useful service in the interest of humanity. It is a thing that develops the hive spirit in human and causes him to submerge his selfish personal interest for the use of this race. The Golden Rule acts as a barrier to all of men's tendencies toward the destructive use of power that comes from developing the other qualities outlined in this letter. It is a thing that avoids the harm man could not be without knowledge and power. The thing that guides man to the intelligent, constructive use of those qualities he develops from the usage of rungs of this ladder. The Golden Rules man's thoughts right by which he is guided toward those objectives in life that leave something of value to posterity, that lightens the burdens of his fellow sojourners on earth and helps them find the way to useful constructive effort. The Golden Rule simply means that we must act toward others as we wish toward to act us. That we must do unto them as we wish to be done unto us. That we must give in our thoughts, action, and deeds that which we are willing to receive from others. You have before you in this letter a perfect blueprint or plan by which you can reach any legitimate undertaking in life that is within possible reach of a person of your age, naturally, tendencies, schooling, and environment. This is a magic letter to guide you to look for the end of the rainbow of success, which nearly all of us expect to find at some point in life. Your aim was and is in sight, my friend, and that moment you master the qualities in this letter, you can pick up the bag of gold and is waiting for the rightful owner to come along and claim it. So, thanks for watching this quite long video. So, thanks for watching, and I hope that you liked this video and hit the like icon, and don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so
Bye bye, see you in next videos.